This is number 6 from chapter 14. You can see that we're going to calculate the Pearson correlation, which is the sum of products over the square root of the sum of squares for the x variable times the sum of squares for the y variable. But this time we're going to use the computational definitions. So for the sum of products, the computational would be the sum of the xy, x times y, minus the fraction, which is on the numerator, the quantity, the sum of x, times the quantity, the sum of y, all over n pairs of numbers. And the computational was the computational formula that we had already seen in the past, just that we're applying it to the x variable and to the y variable. So you could see it's the same thing. X squared, the sum of x squared minus the quantity, the sum of x, quantity squared over n. And for y, it's the same thing, right? Just for the different variable. So the first thing that we can start doing is just simply adding these numbers. So 11, 3, 5, 6, and 5. That adds up to 30. And 1, 15, 7, 8, and 9. That adds up to 40. So these are part of the components that we're going to need for the sum of products, but we do have to include another column, the x times y column. So 11 times 1 is 11, 3 times 15 is 45, 5 times 7 is 35, 6 times 8 is 48, 5 times 9 is 45. So these add up to 11, 45, 35, 48, and 45. That adds up to 184. So now we have everything that we need for this formula. So let's work that out down here. Sum of products is the sum of x times y, 184, minus, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs, and this would be the sum of x, 30, times the sum of y, 40. So that works out to 184 minus 40, that is 240. And that works out to negative 56. So this number can be negative. So remember, correlations can go towards positive or negative 1. So now what we can do is work on finding the sum of squares for the x and sum of squares for y. So for this one, we do need to create 2 new columns, the x squared column and the y squared column. We already have these two, so we could do that up here as well. So let's do x squared and then y squared. Alright, so x squared, that's 11 squared is 121, and 3 squared, 9, 5 squared, 25, 6 squared, 36, and 25. So these numbers, 121, 9, 25, 36, and 25, add up to 216. And then we have the y squared. So we have 1 squared is 1, 15 squared is 225, 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64. 9 squared is 81. 125, 49, 64, 81. So these numbers add up to 420. All right, so now we can actually figure out what we need, right? So let's do the sum of squares of x. So that's the sum of x squared, 216, minus the sum of x, quantity squared, which is 30, over 5. So that works out to 216 minus 180. 216 minus 180. So the sum of squares x equals 36. So then let's do the sum of squares y. So that is 420 minus 40 quantity squared over 5. That's 420 minus 320. 320 equals 100. Okay, so now we have the sum of squares x, sum of squares y. So let's just do our correlation already. So let's do r is equal to, the sum of the products was 56. So r is equal to negative 56 over the square root of 36 times 100. X times 100. So if you punch that into your calculator, you should get that r equals negative 0.93.